everyone, thank you for joining me today. Today's reading is going to be their first impressions of you, and I'd like to say thank you to Eden Blue B. I still can't pronounce that. To say thank you very much for the suggestion, and I'd also like to thank everybody who has commented lately or just liked or subscribed or anything, because it helps me keep going, and that's just it really. It just helps me keep going and it makes me feel good. Right, so you've got 3 piles as usual, pile number 1, pile number 2 and pile number 3. So if you want to take your choice, then we'll get going. Okay, let's go. Their first impressions of you. Right, okay, pile number 1. I think their first impressions of you were a mixture of sweetness and openness, and a mixture of almost like innocence and sexiness at the same time. There's that feeling of being open and very clear with the way that you communicate, or not hiding anything. But you've also got Pisces and Neptune here, so I think there's a sort of sweetness and vulnerability about you, but I think there is also a slight tinge of holding, which I think was probably quite intriguing, holding something back to yourself. You've got the 8th house and you've got the 9 of Swords here, so all these are quite sweet and open and flowing and giving, and there's a feisty there, but there's a slight tinge of they know that you are holding something back. My first thoughts here are that you've generally come across as confident, at ease with yourself and extremely attractive, but I do think there's something there where you've connected, but it's almost as if you're trying to weigh them up before you give even more. It makes me think of somebody naturally in everyday life is very sociable, somebody who's at ease talking to groups, at ease talking one-to-one, and it hasn't got many hang-ups. Somebody with this Neptune and this Pisces who enjoys the flow, doesn't have that many boundaries, gives out, radiates, and allows things to go in and out of their life. It's definitely not somebody who has control issues here. It's somebody who gives out freely, who's open with their words, whose body language is quite open. You probably stand quite confidently, and there's lots of movement in the way that when you speak. It's not somebody who's uptight, standing there rigid. You've come across to them as being at ease with yourself, and your body's been fluid and your movement's been fluid. It makes me think of somebody who's immersed in a conversation and laughing with friends, but moving and gesturing quite a lot during this sort of conversation. It makes me also think of they've come into your situation where you're at ease, and I think you've both probably noticed the attraction between each other, and you've possibly slightly pulled back 1%. And they've noticed it. The 8th house is quite a secretive house to me. It's quite sexual. It's more intense than the rest of your cards. There's something that's happened when you've got together where it's almost been like, here I am, happy, I'm with my friends, this is me, oh, here you are. And you've both felt the undercurrents, the attraction, and it's almost like a sexual pull. I was going to say something wrong then, because I have the Sun card here. I'm not going to go there. I think it makes me think that they have seen you as somebody who they're quite in awe of, and that they wouldn't like to You're the type of male or female that makes other people, if they've got low self-esteem, feel quite vulnerable, because you come across as being really at ease with yourself and really content with yourself. You're probably larger than life in the way that you come across. You're the type of person who walks into a room and everybody looks at you. But you're the type of person also that everybody falls in love with, because you've got that exuberance and that radiating quality. But with Neptune and Pisces there's no edges with you. You're not the type, there's no sort of competition or competitive nature there. It's basically free-flowing, easy and inclusive. So these first impressions that they have of you are really strong and really attractive. They're attractive to men and women who are quite fiery, because you're very open and quite with lots of air in them as well. You've got your Ace of Cups here, so I think you've expressed yourself really freely, and you've come across to them as the type of person that wouldn't hurt them. If they declared their undying love to you, you're the type of person that would let them down gently. So you've put them at ease, but there's still that slight undercurrent tinge of, because you've got the 8th house and 9 of Swords. These other cards are really like your best buddy feeling, but the 9 of Swords and the 8th house makes me think of, and this is just a slight tinge to this reading, of fear. Probably because with the Queen of Wands and the Sun here, you're coming across as really confident. So I wonder whether this person has seen you with a group or talking to somebody, or you've walked in and you've overtaken the room, and this person is almost, you've put them slightly on edge, because they don't think, I think the attraction has been immediate, and I don't think that they think they can measure up to you, because you've just come across as the bee's knees. Visually, I wonder whether with the Sun and Neptune here, whether your clothes have been quite free-flowing, whether the way that you've dressed is a bright colours, or there's just something about you that has smacked them in the face. But with the Neptune, the Pisces is quite male or female, has quite a feminine floaty feel to it. It could be the way that you've moved, it could be your hand gestures. It's a type of person who puts things down gently. You know, some people slam things down, or they, you know, how they put their, I'm going to say something very English now, put their cup of tea down or something. But you have that flow about you and that ease about you, which is very feminine. If you're a man, it feels exactly the same. But you've got this take no prisoners air about you, which is joyous and outpouring. You're the type of person with the Queen of Wands and the Sun here who dresses for themselves. I always remember Billy Connolly saying that he hated beige. He hated people because it was just so bland. You give me the impression that you weren't wearing beige on this day. I think you were dressed for yourself, and you had an air of confidence about you, and you had an air of giving about you, and this person was really taken with that. But you also had an air of gentleness about you, which wasn't frightening to them. But I think you weren't frightening, but I think they almost weighed up their self-esteem in a split second, and yet they're always slightly, oh my gosh, okay, I've got to match this person's vibration in some way. But I don't know whether you're a parent, or whether you're a mother, or whether you're just a very sort of family orientated person. You have also come across amongst this sort of open air of being inclusive and just making people feel at ease. You've also got the air of a nurturing quality, and I don't know whether you're pregnant, or whether you're a mother, or whether you've just got a really strong family bond, because the 10 of Cups, the Empress and the King of Pentacles to me are all family cards. There's somebody who's at ease with the way that they come across as a parent, or you have that quality that people feel that they could talk to you and settle down with you, and you would basically take them into your home and make them feel comfortable. It's a nurturing, it's beauty, it's comfort, and it's an established type of maturity that they have felt with you. You're coming across as Big Mama Bear here, or Big Papa Bear. There's just that feeling of maturity and self-respect with this pile. But there's also that sort of radiating quality which is quite sexy, and there's that nurturing quality which people almost see you as the ideal mother or father, with the Empress and the Ten of Cups and the King of Pentacles. You could be quite mature, you could be physically older than them, or just have that quality of appearing and acting older than them, in a not in a stern sort of Miss Trunchbull way. It's more of a ease with yourself and the way you have got in life so far. There's a confidence about you which they know that they can't take away, and you've put them slightly on their back foot a little bit, and they've got to measure up to you. So you've come across really well, really attractive, really mature, but there's that free-flowing quality about you that thinks you're not going to hurt people. You've got a kindness that emanates from you, which they've been really impressed with. This reminds me of, makes me think of whoever's attracted to you and their first impression. It's somebody who I don't think is attracted to money and status and degrees. I was reading this the other day and I can't remember where I read it. Just something where they actually do recognise people's worth, rather than the way their kindness and the empathy and the way that they help other people along. I think your person is the type of person that looks for those qualities in someone, and they've almost thought they've hit gold with finding you and seeing you on this particular day. I don't know where you have actually seen each other, or they've seen you. The 8th house makes me think it could be something quite secret, or I don't know, it makes me think the encounter, although it was very open and very flowing, there was something slightly sexual about it. It makes me think of people who have almost crossed in a corridor and rubbed each other by accident, or standing very close on a train. You know, there's a sexual tinge to it. And with the 9 of Swords here, it's a mixture of being 95%, I'm changing the percentage here, open and giving, with a little tinge to it, a little dark tinge to it, which has added a bit of spice to this first impression. Right, I don't know if you have communicated in this first impression. If you have communicated, this person has gone away and thought a lot about you, and almost tried to find out more about you from friends or on social media. With the 3 of Wands here, this girl is looking from a distance and wanting to know more after the first meeting. The 6 of Swords is almost here, especially with this card, makes me think of travelling as well, as if there's been some distance between you since your first meeting, and they've done a lot of searching trying to find out more. If you have communicated, with the Wheel here, which is a Jupiter card, and your Sun here and your Queen of Wands, it makes me think your communication was big. It was funny, it was loud, it was fun. It's not intense. I think the interaction was intense, but I think the way you actually talked to each other, or the way that you expressed each other, if you did, because it's muddled with these 2 cards here, was open and honest, and I think it was fun. It makes me think of 2 kids joking together and smiling and happy and open and free. There's not an edge to the way that you've communicated, there's not an edge to the way that you've come across, but there is slight sexual undertones here which have been felt, and this person has probably ran off and tried to find out more about you, because I think they've been awe of the way that you've come across physically and the way that you've communicated. Even if it's just eye contact, there's an openness there, but with the 8th house here, that there have been undertones. Right, the chemistry here between the pair of you makes me think that it's intellectual in some way. I don't know whether the way that you've communicated has really sparked. You could have air in you, or they could have air in you, or there could even be some earth here, because there's 3 of Pentacles and the Page of Swords makes me think of a work situation or some exchange of knowledge, or some trying to help each other with something that is almost everyday practical, like a work situation. And what's happened, I think that you've both almost banged into each other, and this person, you have made them feel good, and they have almost felt like they found the prize. I wonder whether it's been quite a shock bumping into you, and I wonder whether you've been able to read it on their face, whether they've seen you and almost felt like it's a wish come true. You've got the 6 of Wands here, and you've got some sort of intellectual or practical exchange going on. I think you could possibly work together. You could, or one of you could already be a parent as well, but there is this feeling of hitting gold, and it's almost it's like excitement, but it's not like secret excitement. I think your exchange has been very open, and I wonder if it's been forced that way, because from this Page of Swords card, the 3 of Pentacles, it makes me think you've almost been forced to work together in something, and that's when when your first meetings happened, and that's when the attraction started. Rather than a chance meeting, it's something where there's been an exchange of skills or words or communication, or even like sharing a book. There's something that you've been brought together, and it's been open and clear and obvious, and this person has basically fallen in love with you almost like that. But there's also, and I think you've both recognised it, there has been those undertones. I know I keep saying it. So the chemistry between the pair of you is, I think that you make each other just feel good. This person has come away from you feeling like, I don't know, excited and actually doing a lot of thinking on how to see you again, a lot of planning. How can I bump into this person again? How can I contact this person? How can I find out more about them? So lots of thoughts, lots of thinking, and the chemistry, I think, I feel here has been basically to do with the way that you have worked together or communicated together. It makes me feel of 2 people that have been pushed together to do something, and then have gone, oh my gosh, when you've seen each other. This person has definitely felt that about you. Right, you have left this person. Can you see these cups down here? I'll hold them up anyway. So the feelings that you've left this person with after their first impressions of you are a real strong feeling of connection and ease of getting on. So there's no wonder with you, with this Neptune and this Pisces and this Sun, you've come across very open, very giving, but also very at ease with yourself, and they've almost fallen into your lap. The 6 of Cups, this person, you feel like some childhood friend to them, not in the fact that's taking away anything from the attraction, but there's that ease of contact and exchange of information. The way that you talk and fit together just feels right to them. But you've got that married with the Ace of Wands, so there's been a really strong sexual attraction to you. There's definitely a feeling of excitement after their first impression of you. They've left, and they've almost, this to me speaks of somebody who's, I would have too. If I had the Sun and the Neptune here, they've just fallen madly in love with you right from the very beginning. And what they've done, as we said earlier, the 7 of Pentacles, they've run away and they're trying to get some scheming plan to get back to you. Right, pile number 1, I'm going to sum you up here. Their first impressions of you are open and warm and giving and kind, and you're not the type of person that could possibly hurt them, but there has been some slight undertones. You've been very open with them, and you probably have a lot of energy behind the way that you communicate, the way you stand. You're very much in charge of yourself, but you're very much a radiator. People are drawn to you because you give out, and you accept other people's nuances. Physically, you could be quite mature in the way that you actually come across. You could be a family person, you could be a mother or father, but there's a maturity about the way that you express yourself, the way that you come across as if you've been through life's hard knocks and you're really at ease with yourself. And this person, I think, has been slightly put on their back foot because I think that they know they have to measure up to you. The communication has either been two of things here. It could have been distant, as in it could have just been eye contact. It could have, it could be just them looking from a distance. So they may have seen you before you've seen them, because there is some distance here, but there's also next the wheel card, which is Jupiter. So if you have expressed yourself with this Jupiter card, and you being the Sun and Neptune and Pisces, it's been exciting, it's been open and honest, and this person has basically just felt a really, really strong connection. I do wonder whether you've been pushed together in a work situation, and that's when the attraction has started. The first time they have seen you possibly could be you reading, doing something, learning, or you've communicated something together, or you've been in some sort of work situation, some practical situation. It could be three people working together. They have seen you, or they've had to work with you, and the attraction in their eyes has been immediate. And this person has gone away feeling a really strong need to have a new beginning with you. It's the Ace of Wands, and it's almost like a excitement and a pull, and it's a sexual attraction. But with the Six of Cups, they recognise you as somebody they feel really comfortable with. But this person has run off and started scheming how to get back to you after this first impression. And they're probably, I don't know if you're with this person, but they are working hard to find out lots about you. Seven of Pentacles, it makes me think, the Seven of Pentacles, that this person wants to get to you slowly and doesn't want to be too obvious about it, even though that you've been quite open in the past. But I'm going to stop there. Right, pile number one, beautiful pile. You come across really well, really in charge of yourself, and just a beautiful energy and a beautiful air. And there's a confidence, but with the Neptune and Pisces, which is the reason I keep saying beautiful, it's the confidence, but it's with taking everybody else into account with it, which is really difficult energy to find and to keep, because to radiate but to let things flow as well is spot on. So you've made a really good first impression. Right, pile number one, thank you for listening. I'm going to turn the camera off because I've lost two films this week. I don't know why, so I'm going to turn it off and give it a break before I go to the next one. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you again. Bye. Hi, pile number two. I'm switching the camera off and on between readings because I've lost two videos this week. I have no idea why. They keep corrupting. I don't even know what that means, but they're not there when I go to edit them. Right then, their first impressions of you. Let's see. Their first impressions of you. Right, I don't know if you work with this person because you've got the 6th house, so it could be I don't know whether they've seen you working, or whether you are co-workers, or whether you exchange some sort of everyday. 6th house is everyday anything. You could meet in the gym, you could be anything. You could meet in work, you could meet on a journey to work every day. Well, that's more 3rd house, but it's something that's everyday, mundane, in the best possible way, of course. Now, initially, their first impressions of you are a mixture of, I'm going to start talking before I actually get all the cards out here, a mixture of you coming across as being very much in charge of yourself, very sort of mature, earthly, and at ease with yourself, but you have a flair about you, and there's something very different about you that they haven't seen before, and that is what has piqued their interest. Like the last pile, you had Pisces and Neptune together. You've got Uranus and Aquarius, so you come across here as a mixture of being calm, earthy, balanced, mature, at ease with yourself, but with this Uranus, there's a spark behind you which is quite exciting. You've done something different, possibly the first time they've seen you. You've done something different. It could be the way that you dress. You could possibly dress with a different edge to you. It reminds me of somebody who possibly they could have done something to try and impress you. They could have entered your group or your group situation. I don't know if this may not be your situation. I'm just trying to talk about the energy. and they've done something that's trying to impress you, and they've looked in your eye to see if you're amazed and you're like seen it all before. It's that type of thing. You can't shock an Aquarius very well, or very easily. Right. Their first impressions of you are very much in charge of yourself. You've probably got a very quick wit. You're probably very eloquent, and you choose your words well and you use them wisely. I think that you have a different air about you. I wonder it's the way that you dress. You have a physical presence, I'm guessing here with the Queen of Pentacles, of being a strong physical presence, but the way that you put your clothes together or the way that you do your hair is different, and that is what's caught that eye. I don't know exactly what it is. It's the way that you come into a room, it's the way that you hold yourself, or the way that you dress yourself has got a slight tinge of, I'm going to say a slightly eccentric tinge. I don't know whether you dress out of kilt with what's quite fashionable in today or in your area, but there's something that's caught that eye about you that may have something to do with that. There's been a strong sexual attraction. I think your communication could have, because you've got the King of Swords here, you've got two airy cards, and you've got the Eight of Wands. So I think they have thunk. They have thought that you have communicated really well together. They think you are easy to get on with, and I think they think that your communication is exciting. And with the Eight of Wands and Uranus here, it doesn't have to be a long drawn out conversation. It could even be a look. With these cards here, it makes me wonder whether their first impression of you is quite quick. Whether you've walked into a room, I don't know what I mean here, whether you've walked into a room or you've walked into each other. It makes me something that's happened fast, and their impression of you has been extremely quick. With the Sixth House though, I wonder whether it's an everyday situation that they've come into, and there you are, and you... The Queen of Pentacles and the Uranus, the Aquarius cards here make me think, this won't be true, but I'm just trying to put a feeling of the energy, make me think of somebody who's sat established in a situation. You could be sat at a desk, you could be behind a counter, you could be just standing still. It makes me think of somebody that's standing still, but there's something about you that is quite exciting. I do think you've communicated with this person there, because Eight of Wands and King of Swords. I think they've come to you trying to match your pentacle energy, as in trying to come across as being at ease with themselves, trying to come across as having a really good conversation about something very practical, possibly, because the Eight of Wands here, and I think you've been really good with your quips, or said something really funny, or said something quite eccentric, or done something quite eccentric which has caught their eye, something slightly different. But the communication is strong. Initially, these cards don't speak to me of a sexual encounter to begin with. It makes me think of two people who are... It makes me think of, actually, let's just talk about them. Somebody who's entered a situation with you, and they are trying to keep it together, and you are trying to communicate, and there's just this like air that is just too exciting, and they've almost started revving themselves up a little bit and trying to pull themselves back and not be too excited, because I think your connection has got something to do with a very mundane situation. And that makes me think, almost like pile number one, you've been almost shoved into a conversation where you're talking and they are getting themselves overexcited because they're picking up the energy from you, which I think you probably have all the time. And I think they've got themselves a little bit sort of up in the air and trying to calm themselves down, pull themselves back, and work practically through their contact with you. But their first impression of you is definitely somebody who is sensual rather than sexual, at ease with themselves. The way that you dress is probably very, I'm going to say quite neat, but your clothes fit together well. You probably have this shiny hair look about you that's very healthy, But there's a wise feeling about you, but it's tinged with an excitement and eccentricity. And I don't know what that is. I don't know. It's just the way that you put your clothes together or something that you've said. The communication in this card is quite strong, so it could be just something you've said. Aquarius people tend to have different hair. They tend to have... it's just an air about them that's different, and they do it on purpose. If you're in a situation with the 6th house here, which is very sort of, I'll give you an example, but it won't be this. You could be in a work situation and you all have to dress in a certain way. This person, just to be different, would have turned up in a slightly different dress, slightly different clothes. That may have caught your eye, because Aquarius always try and be different. They don't even know they're doing it half the time. It's just the way they are. They try and I think that's what they've noticed about you. It's quite a cool and collected pile, but with excitement bubbling underneath. And that's how they felt about you when their first impression. I wonder whether this person has clapped eyes on you from a distance first before they actually run into you. I wonder also whether you remind them of somebody that they used to know that they were attracted to. You're a real mixture. I don't know whether you've been sat still as well. I wonder whether it makes me feel of somebody who's watching you for a while before they communicate, if you did communicate. I don't know whether you've been sat still in some way when you first communicated, whether you've been stationed, they've come into a room on you, or they've come into a situation, seen you there, but there's almost an instant connection of you reminded of somebody that they were attracted to, or somebody in their family that they feel at ease with. But I do think they might have been watching you for a while before they've actually made contact, if they have made contact with you. I do think they have, because you've got some really strong communication cards here. There's something about your body, there's something about the way you dress that feels familiar to them. It could be familiar that you basically remind them of themselves. There may be the way that you put your clothes together, the way that you stand, the way that you communicate feels easy to them. You could have had your back to this person. You could have been sat down when they first saw you. And they've been drawn to you, but it's almost like a gentle draw, a gentle sort of pull, and then you've started talking, and I think you've come across as being quite in control of yourself, but you've got an edge about you which has excited them. I think you've come across as being a little bit nonchalant as well. I wonder whether this person has been attracted to you initially more than you're attracted to them. You have an air about you which is very Aquarius, of being quite detached, I think, and their impression of you is being quite detached. You've got the Star card here as well. You've got the World with the woman in a circle, and you've got the Four of Cups with you looking the other way. Their first impression of you is that you were interested in them, I think. I think you've communicated, and I think you've said something quite quippy and probably quite funny. But there's something they feel as if you could possibly say something or do something that would be unpredictable. And that combined with that, I reckon that you've come across as doing your job or doing something, working in a way that is quite natural, but you've not recognised their attraction in you and you've not reciprocated it. I think you've given them the air of, I might be interested, but maybe not. Because the chemistry here, from their point of view, they're not getting anything back from you. I think that they've been more interested in you initially. They've gone away with this feeling of wanting to know more, of wanting to know who you are, of wishing and hoping they're going to bump into you again, but I don't think they think you're interested, or they're not sure where they stand with you. excuse me. Right, after they've left you, they have been in awe of the way that you have come across. I think you've been very in control of yourself, and I think you have some sort of swishy, sexual, confident air about you. But I wonder whether it was a meeting that they didn't know if they could actually get back again, as in that it may have been a one-off, or a bumping into somebody's situation, like in a pub or in a train, or something that they weren't really sure whether they could clamber back and get back into your eye line again. I think, which I felt all the way through this pile, that there is something to do with the way that you two speak or talk or communicate, whether it's online, I don't know, that is the main pull in this situation. There's something you have done or said or communicated that has rocked them a little bit, and they found it quite exciting. It's been different from what they used to, and it's been clear and concise, and it could even be funny. And it's been different from the air that the way that you come across is probably quite mature. It reminds me of somebody who is just assured, self-assured and confident, and they dress that way and they look that way, and everything is all in order, and they're very lovable and very homely, but there's an air to you, and that's where the connection, I think, from this person is the excitement in the way that you've communicated. I don't know, it makes me think of somebody who's fallen on somebody else by accident, and you've looked into each other's eyes, or you've basically bumped into each other in a corridor, or it's something that's quick, and that connection and that they have had with you and their impression of you is something immediate. I don't know whether you've said something or that it's been physical. I've got a funny feeling it's some communication something you've just said that has really caught their imagination, and they've been left wondering whether they can see you again. The Ten of Swords here, it makes me think it might have just been a one-off contact. Right, pile number 3. No, you're not pile number 3, you're pile number 2. So there's an excitement and there's an air about you which is unpredictable, but they can't quite weigh it up, because you come across as being very welcoming, mature, earthy, but it's really mixed with a excitement, which that is the bit that has caught them about you, and I don't know what you've done. Right, I'm going to finish there, pile 2, because I don't want to over talk your ear off, really, over talk your ear off. So the main thing from this is the communication, and I don't know what it is. Let me know in the comments section whether you have basically jumped on this person by accident, whether you've fallen into them, or whether you've said something really quippy and you've both burst out laughing, because there's something quite immediate and quite unpredictable in their attraction to you. Right, thank you for listening, pile number 2. I hope to see you again. Bye. Hi there, pile 3. I have your cards out already because my camera keeps crashing, and it crashed in the middle of your pile. And if you want to know how long I've left it to do this pile, have a look at the candles in pile number 2. They've been on all day, I left them on. Right, so their first impressions of you. So all these cards have been out, and I started reading them about up to here, I think. Their first impressions of you from the first time I read it were confusing, because you come across in so many different ways. You've got the Taurus card here, which is Venus, so you're coming across as somebody who looks good, somebody who's at home in their body, and quite, the word I kept trying to use was luxurious. I don't even know what I mean by that, but you have that sort of healthy skin, shiny hair, voluptuous, I was going to say, ready to be impregnated feel about you. You have that look of fertility in a very straightforward sense about you. You just look healthy and good and fertile, which is a really bizarre thing to say, I know, but I'm going to keep with that. But you've also got that with the King of Swords, and it's made me feel, the first time I looked at this, of a feeling of a predator and prey. So you have I think, a rather intense look about you or an intense stare about you. So the communication right from the very beginning, this person's first impressions could have been eye contact. You could have just had a very direct gaze and you could have met eyes, as soon as you walked in a room or he or she walked in a room. The reason why I found this quite confusing is you've got the first house, which is quite direct, which goes a little bit with your King of Swords, although the King of Swords is direct in the way that they communicate, the way that they talk, the way that they speak, the way that they write, or something to do with the way that you have come across to this person has been quite intense and direct. But you've also got that with Chiron, and Chiron makes me feel of somebody with a soft spot. So this person has picked up beauty, has picked up something which is either extremely feminine or masculine, which sounds as if I've just made that up, but to be honest, Taurus men are very masculine. They're normally quite in the straightforward sense of the word. They have normally large hands, larger than average body, and they just hold themselves in a way which is normally deemed in the past as being very masculine. The women are quite well built in a sort of curvy way. It just screams of health and beauty to me, but you have something very direct about the way that, or something direct this person has picked up on, and I think you've either spoke quite directly or straight to the point, or you have caught each other's eyes right at the beginning of this contact. Physically, see, there's something, and it's all coming back to me now. It's all coming back to me like a past life. There's something about you from first contact that I don't know whether they've caught you having a contentious issue with somebody or some sort of argument. There's some sort of feist going on with this spread. You've got the Knight of Wands, which is very forward moving, forward thinking, action orientated. And next to that, you've got the Five of Wands, and that's conflict and competition. So either this person has had to compete for your attention, or they've witnessed you doing something that is very sort of feisty, I don't really know. But there's something in the way that you've acted or the way that you've come across, and the communication here is strong, that has been a bit of an epiphany for them. There's something, it's the mixture here with you of attractiveness, vulnerability and communication, which is a really sort of, the two of the paths were straightforward, yours is really convoluted. There's something about those three things that come all the way through the spread. There's some form of competition here with you, and I don't know whether you were with somebody, you possibly could have been with your partner, or whether you were just in a situation with other people and this person couldn't catch your eye. Not thinking that though with this here. But there's something about your straightforward qualities, either the way that you speak or the way that you move or the way that you've been dealing with somebody or the way that you've talked or put yourself across, which has caught this person's eye. Because you're below this card here, you've got the Five of Wands below this card here, which is the Knight of Swords, and the Knight of Swords, as we've said earlier, is communication. So it's almost as if you are the person with them, almost mesmerised, because they're like your prey. They're almost mesmerised by you in some way. I wonder whether this person has tried to communicate with you, and I think you might have almost given them almost shunned them slightly or shown a little bit of disinterest, but it's with the communication again. I don't know whether you've just looked at each other or what. This person has decided on seeing you or hearing you, or something has been communicated between the pair of you, and this person has had an intense, almost like physical or sexual pull towards you, because you've got the Tower and the Ace of Wands here. You've almost held back a little bit, but this person has taken it. I can't remember what I said the first time round. They've taken it, or it's it's a really strong physical pull towards you, and it's got something to do with the way that you've communicated something. It could have been the way that you've looked at them. It gives me the feeling that your person might be quite airy. They may be like Gemini or Libra or Aquarius, or have that in their chart somewhere, and they've been quite stimulated by the way that you've come across. And you have, I think this person's been more attracted to you than vice versa initially. I don't know what they've caught you. Their first impression is somebody who could debate well, somebody who's not afraid to have an argument, somebody who's direct and straightforward and says exactly what they mean. But that's not really going really well the way that you look, because I think that you have a sort of demure quality about you, and I think that you dress well, and I think that you have almost an edge of vulnerability about you. But once you've opened your mouth or you've written something, I don't know how your first contact actually went, it's almost as if it's hit them, and that's really excited them. There's something about your feistiness that has got this person going, and they've had a sort of physical reaction, and they've been pulled towards you in what they feel is a sexual pull by the way that you have expressed yourself. I don't know what you've been doing, I really don't. Once again, it makes me feel that you've had some sort of upset with something you've talked about or something you've said. It's almost as if, you know, you get those love stories where people have an argument before they fall for each other, and they realise, you know, I don't know, they realise their attraction after they've had some words or something. Because for your communication, you've got the 9 of Cups. So this person is really happy and sees you as being their ultimate wish in some way. But then you've got the Knight of Swords, you've got that twice. So I wonder whether you've said something that's hurt them. And they are in a real kerfuffle about their feelings for you, their attraction for you, the way that you look, and the way that something has happened that's been communicated. I think they're quite attracted to women with a bit, or if you're a man or a woman, or men with a bit of fire in them. Somebody who can have a debate and have an argument but still enjoy it rather than go off crying. And I think that's the impression they've got from you, because you've got the first house here, which is Aries. You've got these really strong communication cards, and you've got the 5 of Wands, which is conflict or an argument or something that they're enjoying. You've pulled back, as almost like you've set the ball rolling. I think this is their first impression of you, as if you set the ball rolling, got quite detached. You know this person's attracted to you, or you have become aware during their first contact, and they are basically, it's almost as if you're playing with them a little bit, like this prey card here. You know what's going on, and you're almost, it's like a feisty flirting feel about this. The chemistry between the pair of you is very strong. From the first time I looked at this, the physical pal is the Tower and the Ace of Wands, which is almost like being slapped in the face with somebody who is your ultimate wish physically, the way that you come across, the way that your body is built, the way that your face looks, the way that you move is just something that has really hit them in the pants. And here you've got here for chemistry, the 8 of Swords, the Knight of Cups, the 2 of Cups. This person recognises themselves in you, because you've got the 2 of Cups here with the 8 of Swords with the woman looking in the mirror. Everything that this person has in them that is really like strong communication, that really likes somebody who looks good but is quite on the ball mentally, is they've seen that in you and they like it and it's excited them. But they can also see a vulnerable spot about you. I don't know, it makes me think of somebody who's really sweet looking, really cute, but who has, I was going to say got a gob on them, but what I really mean is quite direct or even funny or amusing, and the way their words tumble out are quite fast and to the point. But this person's, the chemistry between the pair of you is really big. The Knight of Cups, this poor person makes me feel like they've come towards you, a man or a woman, with heartfelt attraction, and the Two of Cups, and you can both see that it's growing, it's both there. So this is quite an exciting part. And the Eight of Swords is a slight fear, a slight holding back, maybe on both of your parts here, because you've got Karen up here as well. That recognition of seeing yourself and the other person is definitely there. This is a really strong pile for people who like to play games before they fall for people in a big way, before you commit. To me, this is a real playful, feisty, naughty pile, and this is what's attracted them to you. And their first impressions of you are, I can play with this person. And you're both the same, I think. It's almost as if you both get off by a bit of verbal banter, a bit of sort of to and fro, a bit of flirting, and it's quite edgy. Right, once you've left this person, either they've seen you again in a work situation with a group of people. They've not been able to contact you in some way. They can't actually come out of their comfort zone to contact you again. Or they've not been able to physically. They could have been, you could have been in different departments type of thing. This is the feeling I'm getting. But with the Three of Cups, they could also have been asking about you with other people, trying to find out who you were if the contact was quite quick. You may work with this person, or they may be trying to find out where they can cross you or find out where you work so that you cross paths again. But I wonder whether you actually have come into contact again, because the Four of Swords makes me think at the end, for the end card, that you possibly aren't in contact now. Right, I'm going to summarise this pile here, and I feel like I want to do this before the camera clicks off again, because I've done three readings this week, and none of them have actually gone through. So pile number 3, let's hope we get through with you. Let's just have a little look at their first impressions of you. Their first impressions of you are of a strong person who is very sexually attractive in a very voluptuous, healthy way. You've got Chiron here as well, so there's that edge of you that has a slight vulnerability about you. But I think you're quite direct in the way that you communicate, whether it's with your body or with your eyes or with your mouth. This person has almost picked up and is quite excited by some spicy quality about you. There's something forward moving, there's something exciting, and there's some sort of competition with regards to you. I don't know whether you're with somebody and they know it, or whether that you are both playing off each other in some way, or you're in a situation where you can't show your affections or your interest in each other. You are playing games with this person, I think, and you've almost pulled back even though you've been attracted initially. Now you've got this person really sexually pulled towards you. I keep saying sexually, I keep saying the Tower and the Ace of Wands together, that's why. There's just a strong physical, that's a nicer word, physical pull towards you. But you almost like, oh yeah, no, okay, I've started the ball rolling, I'm going to just backpedal a bit and see if this person comes towards me. And they know this. They know what you're doing, because this is their impression of you. They feel that attraction there, and they know that you're almost like pulling back a tiny bit. Your communication keeps coming up extremely strong in this pile. I don't know whether you've said something or insinuated something, or you've either looked at them and looked away straight away and their heart has fallen. It's almost as if you've, I'm not going to say string along, because this is like a naughty pile, but it's not vindictive pile. It's almost as if you made them think they had a chance, and then you've almost punched them with something verbally or looked away when they've been looking at you. The communication here is strong but has a harsh edge to it, and almost direct and straight to the point edge. So I don't know if there's something in particular that you've said, like straight away, I'm with somebody, or I don't know your name, who are you? That feeling of this person's hopes getting up, and then And the chemistry between you is extremely strong, again, like the physical attraction. And as you can see from the cards, I'm not making this up. You've got the Knight of Cups. This man or this woman is coming towards you with the flowers, and it's an emotional offer. It's like a come hither offer. I find you very attractive. The Two of Cups is recognition of each other. This person finds you attractive because you're exactly who you are. They think that it's going to be difficult to get to you. They think that you're going to be fun, and they think that you're going to be able to spar with them verbally. And the Eight of Swords here as well makes me also think that they feel that they're your equal and vice versa. And the situation has ended either with them just being able to see you in a group or see you in work and not get close to you. It's almost as if there's been a real explosion between the pair of you, and then you've almost retracted a little bit, and this person is left with trying to ask questions about you, trying to find out where you are, what you're doing. If there's a work situation here, which is possible, they're trying to find out what department you're in or where you're going to be, and just trying to this feeling of trying to find out more but getting nowhere with it. Right, pile number 3. So that is what their first impressions of you. You are a confusing pile to them. The word I used, I've just remembered, when I first did this pile, which was about 2 hours ago or something, was enigma. You come across as an enigma to them, and it's as if they're trying to scrabble and find out more information about you. And for some reason, you've pulled back slightly, and this person likes to be stimulated in relationships. That it's almost like a feisty feel that if it comes too easily, they're not interested, and they don't think that you do. They think there is something between you both that they have in them. It's almost like an Aries moon and an Aries feel about it, where they like the competition. They've either seen you acting in some way that they've thought game on, but there's a soft edge to the pair of you, and the mixture is something that they recognise. They recognise that you can be vulnerable. They recognise that you can be quite direct. They recognise that you probably need life to be an adventure, and they recognise that you can hold your own verbally or mentally or in any way. And the physical attraction is huge with the Ace of Wands and the Tower. So their first impressions of you are that feisty fun. You're like somebody they want to tumble with. I don't know what that means. I was going to say tussle, but that's an old film that has a quite nasty scene after it, so I wasn't going to say it. Anyway, pile number 3, I'm going to finish there. If that makes any sense to you whatsoever, I'd be really interested to know what on earth went on between the pair of you. Thank you for listening, and I hope you get this video, and I hope my camera sorts itself out, and I hope to see you again. So thanks again, and hopefully see you soon. Bye.